What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to give you a good overview of the data points, what they're truly saying, and over and above that, something that Lucid is doing very much right and something that they need to draw or at least pay attention to in the short term, especially for it to succeed. So I'm going to go over both points. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Without further ado, let's get right to it. So currently up 1.3%, a lot of good momentum being had today. I'm going to share a lot of the data points near the tail end of the video, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But this was posted on Twitter, and it's a little bit more of a snippet from Bear's Workshop, but you do see a lot of good dream additions. And of course, dream additions do mean that they are either the P or the R variation that is set for Europe, or potentially those are the ones that is destined for Saudi Arabia. So potentially, regardless of that, I think this is a very positive thing, and it does go to show that they are on schedule, especially when it comes down to Lucid. A lot of people are looking at their operations with a fine-tooth comb to see if they are on schedule, because of course, if they're on schedule, that goes to show that the gravity most likely will be coming out on time and various things. So of course, if something's ever behind, that's never a good image, right? So Sherry House did say in the Q4 earnings that they are going to be having a lot of the international deliveries set as far as on a boat for Q2, within Q2. So of course, we are in Q2 right now. So definitely that is a very positive sign to see a lot of these dream additions. So of course, like I said, meaning international deliveries is on schedule. So of course, these most likely are going to be all going to maybe a boat at this stage. I'm not really sure, or potentially where it might be going from here. It might be going to Houston, potentially. They didn't really signal the logistics behind that though. But I would assume that based on my previous due diligence, I think the easiest and most cost-effective way is to go through Houston. But of course, I could be wrong. I'm not a financial advisor. You guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But like I said, I think a lot of good things was said in the Q4 earnings, and so far, they are on schedule for all of that. So once again, let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. But like I also mentioned, there is something that they need to really pay attention to. And as you can see, based on Barry's tweet right here, they did lay off, unfortunately, a lot of the leadership. So a lot of VPs. And of course, I did post this because I'm pretty happy about, for instance, Jeff Curry per se, but there's a lot of other ones that unfortunately were fairly good. I believe Gagnon, it was a recent hire as well. And she was destined, I believe, for international, at least to help with that regard. I could be wrong, but again, there's a lot of good people right here with the exception of a few. But like I said, when it comes down to their leadership, this is what the current leadership does look like. The main five, for the most part, have stayed unchanged. So there is Peter, Sherry, Derek, Eric, and Michael. So those are the OGs, if you want to consider them that. But outside of that, I think it's everyone is for the most part either in a new position. They kind of took over a new position in some regards. Some people like Derek have stayed the same, but like I said, a lot of changes have happened, and keep in mind they did shake it up already. I believe it was in July or sometime in 2022. They've already done a mass layoff. I believe it's around 6 at that stage. So the fact that they are now laying off, give or take, I don't know what that is, 7, 8 potentially, then it goes to show that they are trying to have something fit, or at least they're trying their very best behind the scenes to get something working. But like I said, when it comes down to Jeff Curry, who was the VP of Marketing and Communications, I did look through the recent leadership right here, and unfortunately, nobody has taken his role. So there is currently no VP of Marketing and Communications. And this is where me playing devil's advocate, I always like to see all different sides of things. And like I've said in the past, I really like the product. I just want the best for Lucid. And in general, laying off Jeff Curry probably was the right move, but they do need to have a replacement. And currently, no VP of Marketing and Communications is a kind of a bad thing, especially in the next quarter potentially, or spring, so it could come any moment now. They are going to be unveiling the gravity. And in reality, if this isn't a good success, so for instance, if they do it floppy, or if they just come off as amateur potentially, then the gravity launch might not be as big as a success as it potentially could or will be. So in general, as much as I think that Jeff Curry wasn't the right move, for Lucid bigger picture, they do need someone in the marketing role to have a good successful rollout of the Gravity. So of course, that's just my own interpretation of that. You guys do your own due diligence, like I said, but I think in general, this is something that Lucid does need to address ASAP, very, very fast, or potentially, unless maybe they just get one of these other individuals to potentially just cover marketing minorly, or I don't know what they've done behind the scenes. They're not really that transparent, and like I said, they haven't even done some PR to say that these individuals have or have not been laid off. But like I've said in the past, the Gravity is a very good catalyst for 2023, so they definitely need to do that right. And if they do it in a very successful way, then I also do anticipate a lot more analysts to jump on board with ratings for Lucid. They're upping ratings potentially, but I think there's going to be some correlation based on the price of the Gravity versus its also success. So just be aware of that. And when it comes down to actual news, there's been no SEC filings, no actual news per se, other than, like I said, that recent news about them laying off staff, unfortunately. But generally speaking, I think Lucid is just following the broader market right now. Of course, on April the 24th, they do have their upcoming shareholder meeting, and a lot of people also want to know about their deliveries. So potentially that might be coming fairly soon. Typically what they do announce it is around 3 weeks prior to their earnings, and they haven't actually announced their earnings as of right now either. So I do anticipate that to be May-ish, so probably first week of May in reality. So definitely stay tuned for that. And if that is true, then most likely either next week or the following week, that is where we are going to get their actual amount of deliveries and production that they did do in Q1. But like I said, I'm one of those individuals that likes to look at the transcripts of previous earnings and kind of decode things. And unfortunately, both Peter and Sherry say within the actual earnings, the Q4 earnings, that Q1 isn't really expected to be dazzling per se. So again, coming from a investor standpoint, I think the Q1 earnings isn't really anything to look forward to, potentially, of course, but I could be wrong, like I said. And when it comes down to it, it has pulled back a little bit, so it's only up 0.65% right now, but I'll give you a quick overview of the data points. Like I said in yesterday's video, BlackRock Vanguard clearly did increase their position, and you can tell that based on the ETFs. There's also a lot of green ones as well, so that is brand new positions. There's a new one that is the Global and Lithium Battery Tech ETF that made a brand new position in Lucid, 6.8 million shares. That's pretty significant. I'll give you guys a quick overview of shorts as well, what they are doing, especially leading into this long weekend. So short score is currently 85. Utilization is 100%, showing 100% of the available shares to short are currently out. And despite Lucid being green, shorts are increasing 635,000 shares, which works out to be 22.64% of the free float overall being shorted and 145.09 million shares being shorted. And overall, that kind of works out to be around $1.11 billion worth of shorts. So definitely, I think Lucid is needing to really ramp up on production, because that's basically what got Tesla shorts off of their back. Tesla was just able to really ramp up on production, and naturally shorts just went away. So I do anticipate that to be the same case for Lucid. So hopefully in 2023 they do exceed their 14,000 target by at least 3 times that ideally, but of course I could be very much wrong. And when it comes down to the options activity, a couple outliers as you do see. So there is a lot of downside anticipated with Lucid, weirdly enough though. So as far as put premiums, there was $2.32 million worth of puts, so pretty significant, versus calls 303,000. So definitely very much oriented towards puts today. So of course that might be a little bit more of a negative potentially, and even more so looking here, there's $2.01 million worth of puts just within this 5 minutes between 9:05 and 9:10. So like I've said in the past, options don't necessarily move the stock price. It's a little bit more of a sentiment, so this might mean absolutely nothing, or it might mean a lot. Again, I'll leave it up to you guys to make that determination. As far as what's happening so far on the secondary market, there's been roughly around 4 transactions today. So a lot of big money is taking a step back today. But you do see a lot of good transactions over the last couple of days per se. So there was one 2.2 million, 5.48 million, and the previous day 6.99 million. So outside of that, most likely a lot of people are just taking the long weekend and starting early. But as far as where Lucid might be going from here, so it did fail to transition into the higher percentile of the Bollinger Band, and even today, in fact, though, it did fail. So kind of had this little bit more of a tentative rally, or at least a bump up, but it bounced off of that and is trending down once again. So as far as some support and resistance levels that you need to watch for, 813 is a pivot point, $7.36, so it might be wedge bound between this range until either something positive takes it above that, or vice versa, continues a little bit more of a downtrend. But like I said, if you do kind of couple this big amount of puts being purchased, maybe something bigger is coming that might take it below the 736. Who knows at this stage in the game. Number of retail investors for the most part are staying flat. Stochastic is currently at 59, so a little bit neutral, a little bit high potentially, but you do see a little bit more of a bearish sentiment. So generally speaking, I do see a little bit more optimism with Lucid. Of course, it's starting to go back down, so it might close a little bit more red today, but I still feel that there is a lot more upside anticipated. But of course, I could be wrong. Let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. If you do like my Lucid content and want to support the channel, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. And while you wait, and while we all wait for Lucid to just rally as much as we know it's going to be coming, you can take advantage of this promo with Moomoo, link in the description below and also the comments. Just open up a free account and you get one free stock. Each stock is valued up to $2,000, so make sure you guys take advantage of that. And each account gives you free level 2 and also $0 commission, so definitely take advantage of that. Plus, if you want to throw $100 at the account, you get 5 free additional stocks, each again valued up to $2,000. Kind of a no-brainer, but let me know your thoughts on all of that. But with all that said, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.